I am one blessed woman. Very, very, very blessed. Why am I blessed? I woke up this morning. I'm on live with you guys, and I am the mother of 4 children that all finished college, and all of them had scholarships of some type, and that's why I want to talk to you today. So, with that being said, um, 2 of the children got their doctorate degree. All of them have their bachelor's. 2 of them got their doctorate. And the way that they got that was, or the thing that paid for it was the Gates Millennial Scholarship. So when my children were growing up, people used to ask me, well, Miss Kennedy, what are you doing to make your children so smart? And I said, I'm not doing anything special. They just pay attention at school and they do what they're supposed to do. So with that, I learned after I started getting grandchildren that maybe it was something special because, like I said, 3 of my children got the Gates Scholarship, and that's unheard of. That's like miraculous. So you see why I'm saying blessed. And I just thank God that they got those. And because of that, what I want to do is share with others the things that I did to try to help them get that, or I guess to cultivate the love for learning, which I feel like is the foundation of your child getting a scholarship when they finish high school. Now, this is something that I thought, okay, if I just tell everybody about the scholarship, then they can do it, okay? And so up until that time, I said, I want to share it with everybody. So everybody I would see who had a teenager or someone who was in the 11th grade, I would tell them. And that wasn't very effective. So then I said, well, I need to get the message out to more people because they just need to know. So what I did was I did a couple of lives last year. And then I realized that maybe the 11th grade is not enough time to prepare your child for those types of scholarships. So what happened was I decided to start at the beginning. When I had grandchildren, one of my daughters said, Mom, every time they go around other people, hi Audrey, every time they go around other people, oh, and Mr. Kitten play too, okay. And I am good. I'm doing very well. So anyway, it's hard for me to do the things and stay on track. So I gotta do it. So anyway, what I was gonna say is when my children had their children, and they would go around other children their age, my grandchildren were very, very, very much more advanced. So my daughter says, Mom, you're doing something with them, because I was keeping them from a very young age, well, like 6 months. And so she said, you're doing something, so because they're so much more advanced. So with that, I said, okay, I'm going to go ahead and try to tell parents now how to prepare their child from a young child, to prep them to love learning, because that is the key. The key is to love learning. And so with that, I also realized that from 0 to 3, there's some research that's been done. From 0 to 3 years old, your child makes synaptic connections at the rate of 1 million synaptic connections per second. Okay, 1 million per second. And synaptic, okay, the brain consists of neurons. Neurons are the cells in the brain. They're the tiny cells in the brain. And the neuron has a center, and then it has little outstretched, like they look like fingers. Okay, so you've got one neuron here and one neuron here. And when they connect, that is the synaptic connection. And what happens is the electrical charge or the message goes from this one to this one. So that's when the connection occurs. So with so many of those connections being happening from age 0 to 3, it makes sense. It makes sense that they learn a lot during that time. Now that time is very, very, very important for your child to get the right types of input into their brain so that they will develop a love for learning, and so that they will also be emotionally secure. Okay, so those two kind of, well, they go to hand in hand. So, and you can go to that site and look at it, read it, and see the research, because they go in depth of the types of things that you need to do. So now, but I'm going to tell you what I did, and it worked for me to get 3 Gates Scholars. So this is what I did. I did a previous video, and on the previous video, I went over creating your learning environment. And with creating the learning environment, I said you have to have, this is just a quick review, this is that you have to have a set area where you go for your child to know that that's the area where they're going to do those particular activities in. Okay, now this is by means not the only thing that your children will learn, because they learn when you go to the grocery store, they learn when you go to the park, they learn all the time. Okay, they're just sponges taking in information. So the type of information that they take in, it kind of depends on you. Okay, because you are their caregiver, you are the person who's around them most of the time. So the input that you give them should be positive, and you can make learning opportunities out of every situation, every event. So with that being said, this is just for your special learning environment, special learning area at home. Okay, last time I told you about how I keep my pieces of my puzzles together. I use a refurbished or repurposed container. I just put a label on it, what's in it, and then for, like, I have a lot of puzzle pieces, and with those puzzle pieces, this one's in the right box. This is numbers, puzzle parts for numbers and shapes. So I have them here. So each puzzle I'll put in its own Ziploc bag. And believe it or not, these things last so long. And they are really good. And sometimes I tape them together. So I'm very frugal. So I try to not spend a lot of money on anything. And that's another thing. That you don't have to spend a lot to bond with your child. You don't have to spend a lot to get things for them that will work for learning, okay? So it doesn't have to be expensive. You can buy it new, or you can go to Goodwill. That's one of the best places to find items for children. Of course, you're going to disinfect it very well, but it doesn't have to be expensive things. A lot of my things I pick up from different places, like Big Lots, or well, it's no longer Big Lots, but you know, you can pick up things on clearance and everything like that. So here we go. That's storage. I also told you last time about how I keep my puzzles and my books. So this is just a regular little book rack that you can order off of Amazon. And it's colorful, very colorful. And it it really serves the function. So I keep my puzzles in here. I keep the books that they like in here. Little Blue Truck. Oh, that's the best, a favorite of them all. And so it's just a very good organizer for those things. Okay, so that was the rack that I did not show you last time, but you can see it now. All right, so this time what I would like to go over, well, oh, I also told you 2 puzzles. A number puzzle and this alphabet puzzle. So these are really good puzzles to start with. They are interactive. The baby can, and now this is once they're like 6 months. The baby can go in and you can help them. They feel the texture of it. They can slide the numbers to the puzzle piece numbers to the number on the board, okay? So this is good. And this particular one has 1 through 10, and then it has the subtraction, addition, division, equals, and multiplication. So I thought that was good. At first, I didn't even, go over that because I said, oh, they're not ready for that. But then I said, well, if it's on the puzzle, I might as well do it. And so I start doing these things around 6 months, okay? And at 6 months, the child can sit and be attentive. Oh, well, most of the time, starting out, they're not going to be attentive. And that's just that. They're not going to be attentive, and they're not going to want to sit there. So, who's the parent? You are. And since you're the parent, you can have them sit there, okay? You just hold them firmly, and even if they cry or try to get away, you just hold them, and then you tell them what you want to do, and if they don't want to do it, well, you have to teach them first. So first you teach them by saying, I tell them things like, let me show you. Remember, I have these handy dandy bags. Now, I usually just start with the alphabets because I start with the reading first, but I'm just going to do this one because it's handy, okay? So I'll tell them, let's take one at a time out of the bag. And so I'm holding them with this hand, holding the baby. We're on the floor, and the puzzle is on the floor. So I'm teaching them one at a time. So they go in, and of course they fling all over. So you take their hand. Okay, here it is. Here's an example. You take their hand and you say one at a time. And if they don't want to do it, it's fine. Just keep holding their hand and they'll eventually calm down. And then you tell them to put it on the tin. And then, of course, you show them where it is and then have them to put it in. But the main thing is that you are in control, okay? You are in control, and you gently guide them to do what you ask them to do or what you're telling them to do. Because after all, it's a baby. They don't know, okay? So you just kindly, very kindly, but gently, but enough to make them do what you want them to do, okay? You're guiding them and teaching them. So it's so funny because usually the first time I do this, and it happens with every one of my grandchildren, when I first start doing this with them, they squirm and they cry and they just have a fit, okay? But I keep going, just patiently telling them until we finish the puzzle, okay? Then, like the next day, they crawl over to the place and they're pulling at the puzzles. I mean, it's like crazy. And when I tell them to take one at a time, they actually reach their hand in. So it's like, it's amazing. But when they're doing that and when they're crying and everything, you're like feeling really sad for them. And you're saying, oh, don't cry. But you are the parent. okay? And you know what's best for them. So you are training them to do what you ask them to do. And it's simple, but you can't let their crying get to your emotions and say, oh, no, the baby's crying. He doesn't have to do this. Yes, he does, because that's what you want him to do. Now, there are 4 things that must happen before you start trying to train your baby. Okay? Before you take them to the learning time, you got to do 4 things. Number 1, you got to make sure you fed the baby before you start trying to train him something or trying to teach him or trying to hold him down. Okay? Wouldn't you cry too if you were hungry and then somebody trying to teach you something? I doubt if I would listen to them. So that's number 1. I would be listening to my stomach more. And the baby doesn't have any other way to communicate with you. So you have to take care of these things before you start. Okay? All right. Now this is on you. It's on you because the baby is a baby. Okay? So you got to make sure of these things. So number 1 is what? Number 1, you're going to make sure you feed your baby before you start training him. Or just make sure that he or she is not hungry. I say he a lot because the main baby that I'm working with now, my grand, is a he. So I may say he and not he or she. Okay, so we got that straight. So that's the first thing. Okay. Second thing, make sure they're not sleepy. Now, don't you know the only way a baby can communicate with you is by crying? And if he's sleepy, he's going to be crying. And he's not going to be attentive. And it's not going to be a fun thing for that baby. So, make sure he's not sleepy. Okay? Number 3. Number 3 is make sure he's clean. If you had poop on you, would you want to learn anything? Would you want to sit still? No. If you had urine on you, a full wet diaper, I don't think you would want to. I don't think you would want to sit there in that mess. So make sure your baby is clean. Change his diaper before you get started. Okay? So those are 3 things. Those are 3 things that you have to attend to for the baby. Okay? That he is fed, that he is clean, and that he is well rested. Okay? So do those 3 things before you start. Now, I said 4. Those are 3 things for the baby. For you, make sure you don't have your cell phone on or the television or other kids running around because your baby's going to be distracted. Do you want your baby to be distracted? No, you want your baby to learn. So now, this only takes 15 to 30 minutes a day. And this is something that you can do. And as you're doing it, you are bonding with your baby. You're showing them love. Now, you have to be patient. You can't be rushing through stuff like, oh, I got to get this done. You set that time aside for your child because your child is worth it. God wouldn't have given you that baby if he didn't think you could train him right or teach him. Okay? So, you have a responsibility. You have a responsibility, a huge responsibility to raise that child up, train him up in the way he should go. And when he is old, he will not depart. So, you are going to do those things. You're going to make sure that the baby is rested, that he is fed, and that he is clean. Then you're going to make sure that your phone is on silent and that there's no TV or other distractions, that you have him in a quiet place where he can concentrate. And because, he's a baby and everything in this world is new to him. So quite naturally, he's going to look off if he hears another sound or if he sees your phone. I don't know what it is. These babies, they know about these phones these days. So anyway, those are the 4 new things that I wanted to tell you tonight. Okay. Um, Unfortunately, I have not posted the last video, so I'm going to post it. I got to get some help, okay? I've got a lot of book sense, but with the technology, I need a little bit of help to do that. So I got to ask ChatGPT how to do it, and I haven't had time to do it yet. So I wanted to get back with you. I wanted to give you some more information, and I really, really hope that this information has helped you some to prepare the environment for teaching your child to love learning, okay? Because if they do, they will go very, very, very far in life, okay? So, if you've gotten anything out of this video that you like, would you please push the like and subscribe? Thank you so very much. Yeah. Oh, thank you. The info, thank you. Thank you, Miss Phoenicia. All right. I'm reading some of the comments. All right. Okay. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I appreciate it. And I will see you again soon. Have a great night.